Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Snackbox. Hope you all are having an amazing day. Guys, today we are diving into a content creator challenge for the event dungeon. It is called the Assassin Blitz Challenge, and there are a few rules that we have to keep in mind. So let's go over them. Build a team for the new event dungeon and face Pontiff Augustine. Climb through stage 15 to 30 or as high as you can of the event dungeon as fast as possible given the restrictions. The challenge requirements: you can't use mythical champions, HP burn, and enemy max HP champions. You can't use Seer, Armance, Marius, or Geomancer. You must use your own account, which I'm going to show right here. Yes, I'm using my own account. You can't use the test server for this challenge. I cannot go on a test server yet, so guys, please subscribe to the channel so we can hit the 8,000 subscribers so I can go on a test server and, test things for you guys. You can either manual or auto battle. This is cool. Duplicates are not allowed. All right, so no dupes, no mythicals, no HP burn, no enemy max HP champions, no Seer, no Armance, no Marius, no Geo, own account, no test server, manual or auto battle doesn't matter. The winners shall be determined by the total clear time of the stages, and the fastest CCs will be announced as winners. The time stated in the battle results screen will be counted as your stage clearance time. In case of a tie, the priority will be given to the CC with a shorter average clear time through all stages. Now, there are a few additional points here. While progressing through the stages, you can make changes to your team, like swapping champions and changing gear, but only twice. Okay, we can change the team and gear twice. You can stop the stage mid-fight and start over, or if you fail to complete the stage, you can retry, but all your attempts will go towards total clear time. So failing is not a good idea. It will just increase the total time needed for this challenge. Once you clear the stage, you are not allowed to retry it in an attempt to achieve a better time. Every retry will be counted as a failed attempt and added to your total time. So once I beat a stage, the best I can do is just keep it, right? And yeah, okay, so that were the rules. All right, guys, let's jump into the event dungeon. Stage 15 is where we need to start, and this is the team that I'm going to start with. I can change it 2 times. I'm going to add more champions to it the higher I climb, but this should be enough for stage 15. So I'm going to use Solus here in the lead position for a Death Aura, and then Ramantu for debuff. So let's see how that works out. So we got 4 debuffs, boom, Solus, one-shot the boss, 2 seconds, okay? Now for stage 16, I need to add more champions because my damage is not enough. Now, would Solus be able to do it? Probably, yes. If I had a 6-star soul and Crushing Rend, he would probably solo a lot of these stages. But because I need more damage, I'm going to use Siphi here for the increased defense. They have always been a great pair, and this will show here again, okay? So let's do this. I'm going to target the boss. It's the only thing I'm doing here. Boom, one shot. Let's go, 4 seconds. The first stage, stage 15, was 2 seconds. Stage 16, now 4 seconds, okay? Let's go, next one. Stage 17. Boom, one shot, again. Another 4 seconds. All right, let's get some energy. Now the next stage. All right, so let's see. I don't even have to target the boss, so that's pretty cool. Now stage 19, that's where I need to bring a little bit more firepower here. And that's going to be quite interesting probably for you guys. And it's going to be the team for, until stage 30, okay? I'm not going to change it anymore. This is the second time I changed the team. I'm not going to change it anymore, okay? All right, so we're going to add TITUS in here, all right? So now we got Solus in the lead position with the Death Aura. We got Siphi for turn meter boost, increased speed, increased defense. Both of them scale damage of defense, Solus and TITUS. Necrit will protect TITUS. Okay, he will also put up a shield, as well as Solus will also put up a shield from the damage he does. There are 5 targets, so the shield will be massive. I have Necrit in a bolster set, and also I have the Volcariac Heart on him, so there's a lot of shield going on. and then Romantu with debuffs, okay? So let's see how that plays out. Now, obviously here I need to click on the boss. All right, we got all the debuffs. And boom, 6 seconds, okay? Stage 19, 6 seconds. Now let's go to stage 20. Should be the same thing. Click on the boss. Very important that I don't forget that. All right, there we go. Another 6 seconds. Stage 20. All right, stage 21. Should be the same story. Okay, I'm going to click on the boss. All right, another 6 seconds. Stage 22. Almost forgot to click on the boss. Definitely don't want to do that. Man, 5.5 million damage. Kaboom! Another 6 seconds. Stage 23. I love this TITUS stuff. All right. Also, another thing is if Brimstone procs on Romantu, I get another 5% more damage, so the hit is actually harder. All right, another 6 seconds. I don't think it's gonna change in the time for the stage, but it's pretty okay, I would say. Yeah, 6 seconds is pretty fast. Let's see if we can keep this time for the other stages. I mean, obviously one thing that can happen is like a 3% on Romantu's debuffs. That would suck, right? That's something that can happen. So it's not really 100%. So we got another 6 seconds here on stage 24. Let's do stage 25. So if the decreased defense or the weaken gets resisted, I don't know if TITUS does enough damage. All right, another 6 seconds. Stage 26. Click on a boss. I have to remind myself. I feel like I'm going to forget it at some point. So there we go. Boom. All right, another 6 seconds. Stage 27. And another 6 seconds. All right. We're just running through here now. Maybe I can cut the time a little bit by removing Necrit. I don't know if Necrit is really necessary so far. Maybe he's only necessary here for Hegemon, right? That's kind of like the main reason why I brought him in. So he's protecting TITUS. And also he has a Volcanic Heart, which gives additional shield, and I put him in Bolster. So he does provide a little bit more shield. But Soulless is kind of removing his normal shield with his attack. So maybe I could have removed him from, previous stages. But then again, it is what it is. It's fine. I was only able to change the team twice. So maybe I should have done that instead of just using Soulless at the beginning for one stage. But yeah, it's okay. So now it's going to get interesting because now we got Hegemon, okay? Now we got to protect TITUS from Hegemon. That's why Necrit is here. Otherwise, I would have to build him in like Feral or Stone Skin even, which I really don't like to do. Oh, I almost forgot to click on a boss. All right, so now it's taking 7 seconds. And the reason for that is Hegemon's animation, okay? That's why it takes 1 second longer. All right, so stage 29. Should be the same story here. All right, there we go, 7 seconds. And as you maybe already noticed, my Siphi is resisting the Hegemon. She's in a 9-piece protection set with enough resistance so she doesn't get debuffed. There we go, all 4 debuffs, and boom! Another 7 seconds. All right, so that's it, guys. Okay, we just ran through the whole event dungeon from stage 15 to stage 30. Now let's sum it up. How long did I actually take? All right, I got 2 seconds on stage 15, yeah? Then I got 16, 17, and 18 in 4 seconds. That's 12 plus 2, 14 seconds. And then from stage 19 to 27, I took 6 seconds per each stage. So that's 9 times 6 plus 54, 68 seconds plus 21 seconds. The 3 remaining stages, I took 7 seconds for each of them. So plus 21, and that's 89 seconds, 1.5 minutes, basically 1 minute and 29 seconds. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with that time. I think it's pretty good. Hopefully I can win this challenge. I don't know, maybe, but who knows. But yeah, before we jump into the builds, I want to actually show you the stat requirements for stage 30, okay? So if you go to HH Gaming, there's a stages tool, which is absolutely amazing. You can, filter for any type of content, and they update that pretty fast. So shout out to Hell Hades and everybody that's part of HH Gaming to give us the info that we need. Now, as you can see here, the accuracy of Hegemon is at 510. So the minimum amount of resistance that we need to resist, his block active skills, that's what we want to resist. Otherwise, the team will fail or has a high chance to fail. The resistance that we need is at 615. That's the minimum amount. I mean, if you're at like 610, it's good, I guess, but you definitely want to be at that, area, okay? 615 plus would be definitely better. And then also you can see the speeds here. The boss is at 291, the fastest out of the whole team. Obviously, Hegemon will go first always, but he's at 291, which is a lot slower than I thought it would be. But that also means you have to speed tune your team so TITUS goes before the boss, okay? So we have to increase turn meter of Siphi, we have to increase speed, and then I had to fine tune and find the speed for TITUS to go before the boss. That was actually not that hard, but I had to use some glyphs and, adjust the gear a little bit and find enough damage as well to one-shot him, right? So that was kind of like the challenge here. Obviously, I want to go with Siphi first, then Ramantu places the debuffs, then Solus does his AoE attack, weakens the boss a little bit, puts up the big shield, and then TITUS goes in. And the speed between Solus and TITUS, it has a very small difference. And I pretty much knew that, Solus with his speed would go before the boss. So that's then what I aimed for with TITUS, a little bit slower than that, but that's what I aimed for. I tried to go like 1 speed slower than that. All right, let's start off with Siphi. She's in a 9-piece protection set. Every buff she places will give me additional 5% more damage. That's why I put her in a 9-piece protection set. She's at 361 speed, which is way faster than a boss, but that's cool. Doesn't really matter that much how much faster she is, as long as the other champions take a turn, right? So 605 resistance. As you can see, I'm a little bit below what I would need in a perfect case scenario, okay? So, like 10 more resistance would be amazing. I even slapped the relic on her so she has additional resistance. And then this is probably what closes the gap a little bit. That way I can get a little bit more resistance. But yeah, I could probably lift this a little bit up. If you have a 5-star soul for Siphi, that would definitely help to get her resistance up to like 615 plus, right? And yeah, that's pretty much all that I cared about. Make her fast and high resistance so she can resist the Hegemon block active skills. I used the Inferno Sphere on her. That really helped with the additional resistance. And then she's completely booked. But for this, she doesn't really need to be booked. The Intimidating Presence helps a little bit with the defense aura, so my champions do more damage. And this is another thing that I could change, but I didn't want to. I could probably go with, Unshakable and get that additional resistance that is needed, but I'm probably not going to use this team afterwards anymore, so I didn't want to fully commit to this. But if you're missing resistance, that's another, thing you can do. Go for it Defiant, get additional resistance here, and then get an additional resistance from Unshakable, and that should make it a lot easier to hit the resistance threshold. Next in line is Ramantu Drake's Blood. I got him in a 9-piece Pharaoh set. For each debuff that he places, your allies deal 5% more damage. Mine can place up to 4 debuffs. Now you will most of the time place decreased defense, weaken, and block buffs. You cannot place decreased speed on a boss, but you have a chance that the Brimstone procs, and that's an additional debuff that will count for the Feral set bonus, okay? So that's potential 20% more damage. Most of the time it's going to be 15% more damage, but you have a chance for 20% more damage. If you have a 6-star blessing here, I mean, you have a 100% chance of placing, a smite debuff. If you have a 6-star blessing, it's always going to be 4 debuffs that you are placing, so 20% more damage. I don't have a relic on him, but you can definitely use something that gives him maybe speed or more accuracy. And maybe you saw it earlier, the highest resistance is on Ancora and Lausanne, and you need around like 500, 515 accuracy. This is definitely working, as you saw. 504 accuracy with masteries, that was definitely enough. He's the second fastest in the team, 322 speed. He just needs to be between Siphi and Solas. That's pretty much where the speed needs to be. He can be much slower than that, okay? Like I said, no relic on him. He's completely booked. This A2 definitely needs to be booked if you want to bring consistency in. And then the Brimstone Blessing, we already talked about that. And I also got additional accuracy from the Eagle Eye. And this here will give him another 20 accuracy, which brings him above that accuracy threshold that we need to place debuffs. And also we get another 16 right here from Swarm Smiter. And that's pretty much all about Ramantu. Then we have Solas. He has been rebalanced recently. I have him in a lethal set with a feral set. And the reason why I have the 4-piece feral is so he doesn't get debuffed by Hegemon. The block debuffs is, making sure that he doesn't get the block active skills. And here are the stats. 261 speed, okay? And that was enough, so he still goes before the boss, even though he's like 30 speed slower than the boss. 5.7k defense. Crit capped is very important. 288 crit damage. So if you can hit the speed and more defense, more crit damage, then it's better. You don't really need the accuracy. I also put the Erratic Coronet on him and gave him this, Dungeon Delver gemstone, which gives him additional 10% more damage. And then he's also ignoring 3% more defense of the boss because Ramantu is placing those 3 or 4 debuffs, right? So that gives him a little bit more damage, and therefore his shield will be larger, okay? Because he places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns equal to 30% of the damage inflicted. And that is what will scale with TITUS, his damage as well. So there's a nice synergy here. I do have a 5-star blessing, Nature's Wrath, but it doesn't really matter that much because I'm not placing debuffs when I, use the A3. But as you can see, it definitely helps to book this at least to level 4 because here you can get additional 20% more shield and also 10% more damage, which results in even more shield. So yeah, pretty amazing. Now he really can smack. He can put up a big shield, and that was kind of like the key thing here for TITUS. And then here I went with Helm Smasher, a lot of damage multipliers, attacking with full HP, first hit, attacking targets with higher max HP, and so on. So yeah, in general, if you can, or if you want to, you can drop the accuracy. You don't really need that. It's completely useless. And, pump up the crit damage and the defense so the shield gets bigger, and therefore it will be a little bit easier to build TITUS. Speaking of which, I really had to adjust his build a lot because usually he's way slower than that on my Hydra team. And yeah, so these are the stats. 5.4k defense, 258 speed. As you can see, he's like 3 speed slower than Solas, but it still goes before the boss. He doesn't need crit rate because he has that shield, and 360 crit damage is all you need. And also try to keep the HP as low as possible because that also affects his damage. Now I have him in a 6-piece Merciless set because that's the highest Death Ignore set that we have. And then I also have a Zeal set for additional 12% more damage if he's at full HP, which is the case. I have the Covetous Passion on him. Now that is not super necessary. You can use a Cat's Gaze, for example, or anything else that helps you to deal more damage, that gives you more Death Ignore. The Boss Slayer probably helps a lot, 10% more damage. shield buffs placed on the wearer 10% stronger. He will ignore 3% more defense if the target is under 2 or more debuffs. And then the wearer's def increases by 1% each time they receive a critical hit. So all of this definitely pushes his damage. And yeah, pretty amazing relic. If you ask me, he's not completely booked. I didn't book the A1 because it's not necessary. Most important part really is that this skill is booked, okay? You really want to get that 20% more damage and the cooldown reduction. Don't give him any blessing if you're at like 1, 2, or 3 star. Maybe at a 4 star, you can start giving him a blessing with the additional crit damage, and then you go for Heaven Cast, for example. You gain damage for each buff, which is most likely the case for like TITUS comps and Hydra teams. You get 10% more damage, and that is much better than, for example, Nature's Wrath, where he only gets, with a 4-star blessing, he only gets 8% more damage. And it's pretty much the same on a 5-star blessing as well. Now, if you have a 6-star blessing, that's when you should go with Crushing Rend, because he will ignore a lot of defense, and you can reach that 100% def ignore. And here are the masteries. I went with Flawless Execution. And yeah, pretty much usual stuff. Now, Necrit is in a bolster set. I put him in a bolster set. Immortal Protection for the additional HP. 15% HP from the Immortal set, 15% from the Protection set. And then I used a Merciless banner because it was the best one that I have, the best HP banner that I have. I didn't really care about speed. I wanted him to be the slowest in the team so he doesn't take a turn. All I want him to do is protect TITUS and put up that big bolster shield so TITUS smacks harder. He's at 140k HP or 138 if you want to say so. He got the Cardiac Heart, which adds another shield buff on TITUS, pushes his damage again. He doesn't really need to be booked for this, but in general, Necrit is a very, very strong champion in my opinion, and I use him a lot in Live Arena too. Not in this build, this is just for the event dungeon. So yeah, basically, you want him to have the highest amount of HP that you can possibly do, and then make sure he's so slow that he never takes a turn, because, it would slow down the whole run. All you want him to do is put up that shield and protect TITUS, and that's it. So I gave him HP percentage boots. I don't know why I even have this, but it turned out to be helpful. Then I have this HP percentage chest plate, and yeah, just everything is just a lot of HP and no speed. This here is the best HP banner that I have. In a best case scenario, you would probably use a Stone Skin banner. Okay, so 2 protection accessories and 1 Stone Skin accessory. It doesn't matter what is which set. So it could be a Stone Skin ring and, a protection banner and a protection amulet, or a Stone Skin amulet and a protection banner and a protection ring. So all you really want to make sure is that you get that set bonus from one piece, and that will give you additional 8% HP. But it wasn't really needed here, so it's whatever. It's just something you can keep in mind if you want to min-max HP. So that's been pretty much it about this team. I think it's pretty funny that TITUS can just go in and smack this boss without a problem. Also, Solus pretty much surprised me with the big shield that he's putting up. And yeah, very nice to see this team. And there we go once again. 7 seconds, 5 turns. TITUS clears out the event dungeon boss. So yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to like the video. It really goes a long way. It means a lot. If you want to see more raid content, the YouTube algorithms can suggest you a video that you might like right here, and see you in the next one.